two other topics. When I asked you want to come on, you said, "Can we talk about these things?" And so you remember those two. Tell me which one you want to hit first, and I'll tell you why I generally avoid these topics, but there's really no reason to really avoid these topics except for the reasons I have. That's the stupidest sentence I've ever said in my life.
Can you say it again?
No, I can't. Backwards. It is so stupid. I can't remember what I said.
You boys met Salem.
Yep. Yes.
And I like that guy.
Salem Clemens.
I think Salem Clemens from Reef Builders.
He's currently on Reef Builders doing a bunch of stuff. He's a young Playboy model who is as sexy as a young Playboy model can be. And
he's bulking, getting swole.
And he knows some stuff. And now he's starting to do some stuff to make the hobby better, which makes me pretty happy.
Yep. So a quick military disclaimer. I'm 20 years Air Force retired. Y'all might know that. Yins.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm supposed to say thank you for your service.
No, you're not. You don't have to do that.
I'm supposed to say that. I'm supposed to. Especially on Easter.
I sort of I sort of hung out. Anytime throughout that entire career, my boss could have come in and been a second lieutenant. He could have come in and been a 21-year-old fresh out of college. And my job as a staff sergeant, tech sergeant, master sergeant was to ensure that person was successful, because that's mutual. We want to be able to take care of each other, make sure that person learns new stuff, and make sure that that new person who comes in fresh out of school brings in new ideas. And that's how I see Salem. So you'll see, I have seen occasionally mention of his youth, and that's cool. But what I dig about what he's bringing is that energy, the freedom that Raj has given him, and his big school brain that he's wanting to throw at all of us.
Yeah.
And I think it's worth listening to. I think he has something to say, because he's not broken like all of us old people.
Yeah. I could give a flying rat's butt about how old somebody is. I care about that they have something to talk about. And
his energy.
The energy is great.
He's bringing some momentum.
Yeah. Have you met Salem?
No, I haven't. So he and I chat.
The other thing is he's like 4 feet tall. He's tiny.
I like how Richard does this. For me, it was like below my chest.
He's like Hervé Villachez. He's like, the plane is awesome.
The plane, boss. The plane.
I'm very happy Salem's going on. Now, why did you bring up Salem?
Because Salem is, I don't want to say fact. He's gut checking some things in the hobby. He's gut checking. Now that, it is Easter. So now that Reef Jesus has left the building, we have the opportunity as a hobby.
Ben is Reef Jesus.
I'm still here.
No, other Reef Jesus.
Okay.
We have the opportunity to challenge some of our quote unquote science that has been shared. We have, we can usher in a new era. Oh, I feel crazy. New era of information reefing, of science, legit science reefing, and not just sales reefing.
Totally.
Tell me about that, because I've been trying to do that for 20 years. I think I did. Is it? I mean, what I saw happen was the sales reefing became the mouthpiece for reef keeping rather than people, and that became super problematic because the signal to noise got completely mixed in the message of sales.
Actually, that's one of the reasons why Richard and I started this.
Yeah. And so you see Salem is getting broader attention. This is what I think you're seeing. And I don't know why I'm talking for you.
No, go ahead. This is fun for me.
He's bringing broader attention from a platform that's got a broader reach. And he's saying stuff that isn't just we want to sell stuff. He's saying stuff like, no, that doesn't make much sense. And one of the things, what you wanted to talk to was about the KFC dip and the concoction feeding. And
Yeah.
the reason I generally stay away from lightning charge things like that is because I'm waiting for something to actually fall out that makes it either compelling to do, or it'll just fall away. Because us all being 1,000 years old, we've seen so many things come to the hobby like, this is going to change everything.
Sure.
It's so easy. And not only does it just fall away, but people kill a bunch of stuff because they try this thing that seems easy and it seems like, and is a good mind story. And a mind story is just a hypothesis and you stop there. But it's a mind story that never gets developed into something we should care about. So
Yep.
I kind of hang back because I'm scared with both of these two things that people are going to do crazy stuff and they're going to lose animals. So while I enjoy the discussion about why something is bad or a bad idea, I've been trying to turn the discussion to things that we think are good. But it goes back and forth. So tell us stuff that you think, Jim.
So I enjoy the counter message. You and I have discussed this often. It's just something that I feel, the message, the sales message, the hype message, that shit's well covered. The counter message, yes, you can, but should you, isn't often mentioned because it doesn't bring in audiences. It doesn't attract attention. It doesn't allow the creation of videos that are then invoiced to BRS to pay for them. That's just, it is very simple to understand that mixing 3 broad spectrum antibiotics to create a dip, or worse, a full in-tank treatment using those same 3, it's simple to understand that can be bad. And I say that as somebody who has done a full in-tank treatment using Cipro. I know why I did it. I know that if I had the opportunity to do it again, I would avoid needing to do that, or at least feeling the need to do that, by better husbandry, by paying attention to my reef, by not being the super lazy ass reefer. I would focus more on health. I'd focus more on proper care instead of needing treatment. Like if I was having to take antibiotics all the time, then there's something wrong. I'm doing something wrong for me.
Good point.
And if I'm needing to treat my tank, and I hate the parallels between human health and coral health, but in this case, I think it fits, is that, if you're needing to do that with your corals, if you're prophylactically treating, if you're treating your corals just because they come in and you don't know where they came from, so you're going to just dip them in this stuff and treat them, they may have already been treated that way. That may be creating over time a coral that's resistant. It may be just the challenge with disposal of antibiotics. It's just creating this thing that, and although we may not be 1 million, but maybe we are, but if all of the monkeys were doing the same thing, then that's a shit ton of antibiotics that we're playing with. And in most cases, 2 out of those 3 are human antibiotics, stuff that people take. Why are we doing that? And then there's of course the thing with Keith and Meckley and others who are playing with oxalic acid, waiting for that process to be developed appropriately. That's a non-human antibiotic that is a narrower focus. So it's not as broad. It's a narrower spectrum. That may bring the opportunity for us to use that and that process to, also these antibiotics are all going away. So the stuff that people have been buying, now there's a warning letter from the FDA sent out to Chewy saying you can't be doing this shit. And that's slowly coming off the shelves. So if you develop this process using Cipro or ChemiClean or amoxicillin of all things, and God, now that's your claim to fame, all that's gone. Like you may still be able to get ChemiClean, but the other 2 are going to be very difficult to find very, very soon if they're not already gone. So I don't like it. I don't like that it's considered, like I haven't seen novel associated with KFC dip. I think it's just crazy because it's just too much antibiotics.
It's just a bunch. It's kind of like
kitchen sink.
I put put a third of 87 gas and a third of 89 gas and a third of 91 gas into my car to cover all the bases. It's a
but
weird.
But it works, Rich. It works. So
yeah. Well,
so how can you possibly challenge it?
Yeah,
wait. Just do a half of high octane and a half of low octane. Isn't that the same thing?
Whoa. Don't challenge that shit. I don't know what you think you're doing. I don't know why you think you have the ability to fucking challenge what Rich is saying right now.
The thing I think about the antibiotic treatments, because I did an OA treatment, and I don't want to tell people not to do it, but what I do want to tell people is that at this time, because we don't know enough about it, and because of the potential problems with it, even though we dwarf what's going through cow urine, it's
sure.
I mean, that dwarfs us, but ethically, we're still adding. If you saw a house on fire, you wouldn't throw more fire at the house going, well, it's already burning. That's just a weird ethical and moral position to take. I'm just going to light another fire because there's already, there's a wildfire coming. So I'm going to light some more fires because how could it hurt? It's just a weird place. But because we don't know really what's going on in our tanks, you are taking a severe risk with your system. So I think, I don't, it feels to me like I want to recommend people do this. Number one, if they have some experience in the hobby, so they know what they're looking at when things are going bad and when things are going good, and that you're willing to risk everything, your entire system, all the life in it, because we don't know if these antibiotics are going to nail any of the bacteria in your tank that you have spent years establishing for a stable system, right? So you are taking a major risk. It is not nothing to do any of these things, especially in tank.
Especially in tank. And you're very soon going to see the data associated with pre and post chemi-clean treatment in a tank, because Keith captured that data.
Yeah.
I've seen it. There is a negative impact to the microbiome of a tank by treating with antibiotics. Shocker.
Yeah. Right. There can't not be.
Right.
And as we learn more, I mean, hopefully, we'll be able to learn more stuff, with like the aquabiomic stuff, as that's getting better and more usable and more understood, what we're killing off and what we want to not be killing off. Yeah.
So now I'm sending...
ChemiClean is an antibiotic. I know it's in it. I'm not allowed to say, but it is. I'm under NDA, but it is. It's not an antibiotic. So it's like you don't go sprinkling antibiotics just down the toilet. You're supposed to dispose of them in a way that supposedly somebody else will dispose of them properly.
You tinkle them down the toilet, don't you?
You can't not tinkle them down the toilet.
And I do my best to avoid antibiotics. Like I need to be sick to go there, because I just don't want to be that guy.
Right. And you want to be able to use them later. So I guess we're really talking about the KFC dipping thing, which is mixing. It's like a kitchen sink of antibiotics. I didn't really look deep into it because it sounded crazy to me.
Amoxicillin, Cipro, and ChemiClean, and then you throw in a couple other things just to supposedly make the corals feel better.
Yeah. And this is just blanket doing this to a whole shipment you bring in.
Or I get a torch, I get a hammer, I get something, and I create this dip just automatically because I got it from, like, treating it like regular coral dipping or something. And I'm like, know your source. I think that's a decent start. Like if I go get something from Moki's house, I know what I'm getting because I can walk over and I can look at his tank. I also accept that the use of antibiotics is probably more than I want to know.
Yeah.
So right from wholesalers to collectors to whatever, all the way down to users like me. So
it's a tough ethical situation, I think, to be in. On the one hand, you want to do whatever you can to make your $15,000 torch coral. Why are you paying $15,000 for a torch coral? Just buy one you like the look of instead of the one that's most expensive. And wait.
Or have a friend.
Yeah, have a friend. I get that you want to do best by that, but at the same time, you know, there's other people alive that may, especially like you said, with, you know, human-based antibiotics. That was one of the reasons I was like excited about the OA.
Yep, me too.
Because it's not used for peoples.
Yeah.
So there.
I'm more comfortable with that.
Yeah.
So there. Yeah,
there.
I mean, you know, try to keep a healthy system. That's difficult to say. I mean, it's easy to say, but difficult in practice. Maybe. And then know where you're getting your stuff. If I know a seller is using antibiotics in a way that I don't appreciate, then I'm not going to buy from them. It's going to be that simple. But I'm not going to know in most cases. So I'll just go to Moki's house and get stuff from him.
Yeah. Know your dealer, people. Know your dealer.
Wait, what are we talking about again?
We're talking about coral. Well, you know,
is that OA? Is it really?
Is it really? I bought that stupid tilefish.
Yeah.
And why did I buy a stupid tilefish? Because they gave me a nice deal because it had been there since November. And I was like, well, it's been here since November, and I've been seeing it since November. It's in good shape. Okay, I'll take it and I'll just dump it into my tank and see how that goes.
Where'd you get that?
What?
Where'd you get it?
At the Aquatic Collection. It's one of the fish stores close by.
Yep.
Of course, that fish has now disappeared. I don't know where the hell it is.
Oops.
But we'll see.
The thing that brought you so much joy has vacated your existence.
Yeah. He disappeared yesterday, and then he was out. No, the day before yesterday, he disappeared. It's a Oreni tilefish. And he was out eating for 4 or 5 days, and then yesterday he disappeared after I added the sand. So I think maybe he's buried in the sand, going, oh God, finally sand. And then yesterday he wasn't out at all. So I don't know what's going on with him, but who cares? The answer is, if you know your dealer and know the animals, one of the reasons I've got two. I've got High Tide Aquatics that quarantines and treats everything, make sure it's comes out clean. And then I've got Aquatic Collection nearby, which writes the date of when they get an animal in, so I can watch it over time.
Yeah. Cool.
And as long as I'm not impulse buying stuff, you know, I wanted to get clams, and I went in and I saw a clam, and I was like, I see one of the clams in the system. Looks like its mantle's not happy. I'm not going to buy a clam this month. And it bugged the crap out of me because I really wanted a clam. But you know what? I really don't want to kill things that are already in my system by bringing a disease in.
Yep, totally.